Hey everybody, I'm Melissa Winko and I am coming to you from Austin, Texas. I was so excited when Kevin asked me to be a presenter for Creations by Kevin's Winter 2024 online retreat. Whoa, whoa. So, um, strap in, get your notebook out because I'm going to give you a ton of tips and examples, and it might be a little overwhelming. So you might want to come back and rewatch this video later if you love this stamp set as much as I do. So as the profile picture stated that Kevin posted on the Facebook group, I've been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for 3.5 years, and but I'm not new to crafting. So I did not know anything about Stampin' Up! And a few years back, I crawled out from under a rock and met my friend Jennifer, and she introduced me to this wonderful world of stamping. And so I did mention I'm in Austin, Texas, right? If I didn't, I am. I am a transplant in 2020. I came here to for a job opportunity, and so I decided to pick up stamping as a hobby. And so after about a year, I started teaching classes, and I really love the color coordination and just the camaraderie and the fun of stamping with friends. So thank you so much for allowing me to present for the group. I'm super excited. So we're going to go ahead and just come on down here, right? And talk about the mini catalog. This is the January to April 2024 catalog. And if you have your catalog, go ahead and flip open to pages 38. We are going to be talking about the Enduring Beauty Bundle. Now, the minute I saw this bundle in the catalog, I knew I had to have it because it allows for a lot of artistic creativity. However, you don't have to be an artist to use it. That is one of the things also that I love about Stampin' Up! How the artists, the concept artists, and the product designers do all the work for us, and all we have to do is just do what they showed us, okay? And then we take extra creative liberties. So I have listened to a little bit about this stamp set bundle, and actually this is the first time that Stampin' Up! Has actually released a 3-piece bundle. So this includes not only the stamp set and the dies, which is your traditional bundle, but it also includes a set of masks. And the designer for this particular product, her name is Caitlin. She did a presentation on this recently, and she said that one of the reasons that they use the mask is because if you wanted to be able to color this large image, you would need many stamps to be able to fill it. So it is a very large stamp, and we're gonna go ahead and use that here shortly. So it's got 5 great sentiments. I love them all. Some can be inside sentiments and then outside as well. So, or you can just use it on the outside. All right. So there's a lot of great. Let me go back. Sorry. The masks are numbered from 1 to 5. That's the sequence that you would normally do them in. And the dies that come with the stamp set have this great outline die to cut the actual stamped image, the big stamped image of the floral set. It's got a great label die and then a couple little detail dies that cut out the very small flowers. But then there are 6 detail dies for greenery, like leaves or buds, whatever you want to call those. All right, I think those are up for discussion. So that's the dies. And then we'll talk more about the masks. On page 39, there are a lot of great samples. So when you have a minute, just go ahead and pop through there. And now I'm going to go down my list of my notes to tell you all the ways that we're going to use this stamp set. One of the tips was to, you will need your F block, which is the largest block, or you can use your, if you have a stamp positioning tool, you can use that, or you can use the glass mat. So a couple different ways you could do that. You could just put it on your glass mat like this, and then you could ink it up and then lay your cardstock on top of it, right? And then you could get the brayer out, or you can just hold it down and go like this and then pick it up and you'll have your image on the other side. You will need probably about a 4" by 5 1/4 piece of cardstock to fit the image on there. And one of the tips that Caitlin presented us with was, I have mine numbered. I put a larger number on there. Let's talk about that. I put a larger number on there. The actual numbers are really small. They're next to this notch over here. And you do have to kind of wiggle them around to see the number on the mask. So I just made it a little obvious for myself so that I don't have to worry about checking that out. You can also see that I used some painter's tape. So get your favorite painter's tape out. But her tip for lining up the mask is to actually lay it down. I like to use the leaves. That was a great tip because you've got a little drop leaf here, which is, it looks like a bud that's not quite open. And then you've got the 3 leaves pointing up. And so if you just lay that in there, then you know that this is the top. And so I went ahead and labeled my block because I thought that was genius. And then you can go ahead and pick your stamp up, and now you have it properly mounted so that when you stamp on your cardstock, you're going to have that facing to the top. Let's see. Couple of tips if you are teaching a class or you are making cards with friends. You can label your masks with the colors that you're using, and then you can also label your blending brushes that go along with that. If it's not obvious that this is a green one, then you could be a little more specific if you have individual brushes for individual colors. The masks are bigger than a card front that's needed, so you do not need the extra masking that some of the other previous masks had needed, which I love a lot. And let's see. Yep, and then I already talked to you about the labeling of the block and how to line that up. Now, I like to use painter's tape. Again, if you have washi tape or whatever it is that you have, it just helps me hold it down. I was actually going to do 2 at the same time. Two of these at the same time. You don't have to be perfectly lined up, which is some other fun things that I love. I think I can actually use the same piece of tape on both of these. Let me talk to you about the approximately 10 different ways that you can use this stamp and mask set. Okay? You can use just the masks. You can use it with white embossing, black embossing, Stampin Blends, colored pencils, and then some type of blender pen or your Wink of Stella to work that into the color. You can watercolor. You can just stamp it without any color at all. And you can use white craft on dark cardstock. And I have colored inks on dark cardstock. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first image, which is the one that I stuck to my packaging. And because I know that this paper is aligned properly to how we're going to stamp it, I'm just going to go ahead and lay that on there. The other thing I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and ink one of these up using the Memento black ink. You can use a color. And because this stamp is so big, I do like to put the block down and then bring the ink to the block. And you'll notice I am using the traditional Memento black pad. If you know me, you know that I've made my own Memento pad using the Craft white ink uninked pad. But I like the crispness of just the thin lines, so I didn't want to put too much on there. Now aim for the center, because I have a tip on what you can do with this piece of cardstock after you're done. Give it a good press. Okay. And that's pretty good. All right. So on purpose, I really wanted to just use 2 colors to show you what you can do with just 2 colors. So I do have the soft seafoam and the bubble bath. They're both very light. I did just re-ink my bubble bath pad, and hold on one second, because I do want to go ahead and clean my brush off, because yesterday I was using Granny Apple Green, which is a lot darker than soft seafoam, so I don't want to get that in my soft seafoam pad. So some people clean their brushes out. I prefer to just continue using it. You can go from light colors to dark colors without cleaning your blender brush. However, you don't want to go from a dark color into a light color. And boy, that Granny Apple Green, as you can see right there, it was very juicy, because there is a lot of color on that. But I think we're getting down to the end of it. I am loving this new glass matte studio, which is this surface that you see right here. This is a current offering for the Celebration Joining Special right now. And one of the things that I love about it is that I can just tape my cardstock right to the surface, and it's nice and smooth and works really well. So, okay, well, let's get started. The first mask is for the base color of the flowers, so I'm going to go ahead and just get some bubble bath. And normally, where we used to tap off on paper, I'm just going to go ahead and go right onto the mask and tap off a little bit, because then I can pick that ink back up and keep going. Now you can go as light or as dark as you want, but do know that the flowers have 3 layers. So I try not to make the first layer very, very dark. Okay. These are really easy to clean also, by the way, and I will show you that when we get to the Granny Apple Green. I do like to put a little pull tab on my tape so that it's easy to pick up. And honestly, I know that there are notches up here. Let me show you a little closer. There's a notch right there next to the 1. I don't really use that because it's pretty obvious where it goes when you stamp the image, and even when you don't stamp the image. So go ahead, and we're just going to move that over. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to maybe go a little less aggressively on the color at first, because I really want you to see the actual color, how it builds. Get a little more. How it builds the layers using the masks. So it doesn't take any time at all. As you can see, I just started these 2 flowers. I do set these off to the side. I just hang them upside down next to me over here on this wall with tape, because I'm using them over and over again. The next step that it has is the Granny Apple Green. That gives the base layer of the first color a minute to kind of set. If you're using a really dark color, you might want to use a heat tool to go ahead and set that color, but that's really not necessary right now for this purpose that we're doing right here. Now, I did want to show you how I wipe off the how I wipe off the mask, and I don't want to get it all over my I don't want to get it all over my cardstock. Here we go. Ready? Let's throw that back down there. So I've got a paper towel. These do clean up with just water. So go ahead. I lay that on there like that, and I take my chamois that comes with my Glass Mat Studio and just go ahead and give it a wipe. This is just wet with water. That thing dries super fast, like it's already drying from just a little while ago. Give it a little wipe. The reason you want to put the paper towel under there is because the ink will go through, and then turn it over and do the other side as well, okay? Because when you're wiping, it does tend to go through the mask. We are going to go ahead and we'll wipe the number 4 one off also, which is the detail. I'm kind of showing you the mess before I actually show you the process. So it seems a little backwards, but it was really because I wanted to have samples ready for you to go so that it would take no time at all to show you the things that you needed to see on how super this is and how easy it works. Now I do have my 2 green ones layered together. It's just easy that way. Okay, so when you're lining up this mask number 2 and you don't have the stamped image, what I look for is the little indentations, and you can see that I can line that indentation right up over that. This little bud does not have anything to line it up with, so then line up the top and there, and you can kind of make sure when you look you can see that that is all lined up. Okay, hopefully that made sense. We'll do it one more time over here on this image, and then it might be a little easier to see. Alright, I did just re-ink this because yesterday it was very dry. So again, this is just soft seafoam. If I was using a 2-step stamp, this would take me forever, but that took me less than a minute. It takes you more time to line up your mask than it does to actually do the work that goes behind it. So if you were making multiples of these cards, these are great for sympathy or congratulations or thinking of you or a wedding or a birthday. Pretty much all occasion, everything you can think of. Then you could really crank out a bunch of these in a lot of different styles, and then you could come back and add your sentiment later. So hopefully, let's zoom in a little more so you can really, really get a good look at that. Sorry, I'm like late to the party moving the camera, but that, I'm done. Like, I spend more time talking to explain than to actually do. So that is number 2. Let's see. Number 3 is the detail on the flower. We're going to go ahead and just jump right to 4 because we're already on the green, so we might as well knock it out. So same thing, you'll notice that the little lines, you know, line up with the centers of the leaves. You could put a little, if you had this on some paper, you could do a little drawing and line where that indentation goes. But I promise you, after you do it a couple times, it's very easy. You can't get it wrong. And I say that because I did it several times. And the first few times I really did line it up. So you want to make sure you're going both directions on these little tiny spaces so that you're really getting the detail. And again, I'm using the same green. You are going to be amazed when I pull this away. There are a couple of spots on here, like right here and right here, where you're just doing the line and there was no base color before you got to the detail. So just note that that's going to be a little different. Okay, let's see. Ooh, look how good that looks. Like right away. I'm going to zoom in some more because we're right there in the center. Look at how good that looks. I love that. We haven't even done anything else to the flowers. There is just a base color on there and 2 layered colors of the same color on the greenery. That is gorgeous. I hope that you are seeing why I love this bundle so much already. Oh, silly Melissa. Let's do the other one. I was so excited. I started putting my greenery away. Let's tilt this over just a little bit so I don't have to zoom in on the other one. Okay, so let's pop it back over here. We're going to do number 3. Again, we already started to put some color down, so you can just line that up. Oh, we did that one already. That's right. We're on the detail. Hello. We're on the detail. So just get the base outline. And again, you can use that little white part to figure out where the edges where it's supposed to go. And you look around and you go, yep, that. Let's check it. Yep, that's it. Okay, right there. Sorry, that took me an extra minute. All right, so again, we're just going to go in there with a little bit of color. And again, you can make it super dark. In fact, I think I will go a little darker on some of these down here at the bottom. I hope y'all don't mind if I take an extra minute. Okay. Ta-da! Look how pretty that is. That is so, so pretty. Okay, we're done with the green. Easy peasy. Let's come back to the pink. Now, I maybe should have cleaned the rest of my stamp masks off. So let me go back to that real quick. Wipe these off. You can see I used a very dark color, and I'll show you which card I did that on yesterday. That was when I was going on the dark colors. So this is number 3, which we're going to do next. And then the last one that we have to do, because I went out of order, is the detail on the flowers, which is number 5. Alright, we're going to put all the color on the inside and give my hands a little wipe. Okay, here's number 3. Let's start with the line. You're just, again, I'm just lining it up. Putting my little tape corners down. Notice my tape is in an opposite spot. It's just good to hit at least 2 corners. We're using the same Bubble Bath ink. I went on it a little strong right away. Oh, I was going to say, I do like to put my ink pad in this new silicone, this little gel holder over here on my right, because it really keeps the ink pad from sliding around. But you can't quite see that as much as maybe some of the other stuff. All right, let's pop that off and do the other one. Ooh, that is so pretty. I know you're going to hear me say that every single time. So again, I'm just lining this up over here. I love how the entire piece of paper is covered. I know I mentioned that at the very beginning when I was talking about some of the designs that the product designer had built into the product itself, but you just don't get it until you do it. And then when you do it, you're like, oh man, I remember when I used to have to mask off all the corners and protect my stuff. So, okay, well, you can tell I re-inked my bubble bath because there's a little bit of, well, you can't, yeah, there's a little bit of darkness right there. It's fine. We'll just come back over here to the stamped image, and we'll go ahead and do that. And if it was still wet when we come back to it, you can hit it with your heat tool. Okay. This is a really tiny mask. All you're doing is darkening up the centers. All right. I might lay my paper towel over that for a second just to make sure when you pick it up and move it that you use a clean spot. All right, well, there's the final product with a stamped image. Let's take a look over here and see where my flowers are supposed to go. Center, they're supposed to be right there. I used this little notch up here to figure out where that was supposed to go. And this little notch down here, these two little notches. Okay, I just was making sure I went both directions, clockwise and counterclockwise. All right, well, there is that. Again, my ink is a little inky, but when it dries, you'll never know. So here is the finished, blended, and just stamped with Memento ink. That's pretty fantastic. I'm going to get my paper towel out again, and we're going to dab off because I was a little heavy with that. My other favorite thing is I managed to do this without getting ink all over everything else. So you can die cut this image out, and then one of the tips that I have is that then you could turn around and use this if you stamped it in the center. Like I did a better job on this one. You could end up using this piece of cardstock here as one of your layers on a mat behind the actual image. So I'll show you what that looks like. And I'll just want to bring both of these up so that you can see the difference. This looks more artistically watercolored, for example. And this one you can see the definition of the image because of the outline. All right. Well, I love this. I hope you love it too. Let me go through some of the samples and explain some of the ways that I got the finished cards. So this is this very same scenario where I didn't stamp any lines on here. So this is like maybe no line coloring. I did use some of the detail greenery in there, and if I had darkened my bubble bath yesterday, you probably would have been able to read that a little better. So bubble bath ribbon out of the trio combo, and I used the softly sophisticated celebration embossing folder right there. It's a lovely embossing folder. Okay, iridescent pearls on that one. So that's the no line. Yeah, hold on while I remember which way to zoom my camera. Okay, so that's that. The next one is the white embossed. So you can see that there is some white embossing there. And then the same process. So I used the same embossing folder. I matted that on some soft seafoam, And I used my Stampin' Blends to spritz a little bit of color on there just to give it a little bit of uh, detail. And also one of my other tips that I have for you is when you have your die cuts, you can take your dark Stampin' Blend for whatever color and you can color that cardstock, and then it makes it a little darker than the actual cardstock. So you can really see how those leaves pop off of that soft seafoam, so that they're a little bit more obvious. So there's one of my other tips. Next is the black embossing. So here it is with black embossing. And I have black rhinestones on there. Wait a minute, we don't have black rhinestones. That's right. I used the basic jewel rhinestones, and then I used my black Stampin' Blend to color both the rhinestones and the ribbon here. So that way everything coordinated and it all went together. So there's your black embossing. And I think I used the exposed brick embossing folder. Now this one, I used the Stampin' Blends, so I colored this one. It took me a lot longer than the other cards because I actually detailed all the coloring. And one of the things you might notice is that there's a really thin mat going around there. Remember when I said to save the image when you do the die cut? My tip for you is then I took a coordinating Stampin' Blend and I actually went around and then I laid that down underneath and as a matte layer so that I was able to actually use this and get a nice little detail underneath that embossed layer. So there's that one. I have a few more. This one is the colored pencils. We don't have colored pencils in Bubble Bath and in the soft seafoam, so I actually ended up using the Fresh Freesia and the Old Olive colored pencils, which by the time it was done, it's pretty similar, but you can see that it is just a little bit purple. And I did use the Wink of Stella on those to blend, but you can use a blender pen. Okay, this is just a pen with, I guess, some secret formula inside. And so you can use that, or you can get out your trusty Wink of Stella, which everyone should have. That is usually my preference because I like glittery things. So there's that. All right, next I have a just stamped image. All I did was stamp it with Memento ink. You could use any color. If you wanted a blue card, a yellow card, an orange one. And then you could coordinate the cardstock that goes with that. And I did use the distressed brick tile on that one, the embossing folder. I love this one. Those sparkly gems in the center are actually, I didn't color those. So, all right, let me see. I think I have two more to show you. This one I used a white craft ink technique and I stamped that on Pebble Path, and then I used my Wink of Stella brush with the what they call Whisper White. It's actually the craft white ink. It's craft white. I'm going to call it craft white. And then I just painted over it using the white basically where the highlights should go. So now I did use that matte layer and I die cut that right out of there, and then I offset it so that you can see a little bit of color, the white behind there, just to give it a little bit of depth. All right, let's see. One more. I really wanted to show this one to you in action, but I'm kind of out of time and I've already gone over. But this is on Blackberry Bliss cardstock. So we've got the Blackberry Bliss cardstock, and I have one that I started here just because I wanted to get it started ahead of time. You actually put down the white craft ink first to kind of block out the color, and then you come back with your mask on the next color and you ink whatever color you choose. Now this one, in order to make it show up, the soft seafoam and the bubble bath were too light to actually have it show up. So I ended up using Berry Burst and Grainy Apple Green, which is what you saw me wiping off earlier. Woo! Okay, so that was about 10 different ways to use the Enduring Beauty Bundle. I really wanted to watercolor some examples for you as well. I did stamp some on the watercolor paper, but I did run out of time, and I suspected, excuse me, that I wasn't going to have enough time to show you all of those options as well. So I really hope that you enjoyed this and that you saw something in this bundle that you would like. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to go over it in detail. And yeah, let's see. So that's all I got. Okay, thanks so much for stopping by, and enjoy the rest of the online presentation. Take care. Bye-bye.